All right, what is going on, guys? We are here like we said we would be on Saturday. We're going over the NFL Week 1 DFS slates. As you can see, he's got a little clap. We've been waiting for this. God, it feels like forever, huh?
Yeah, I'm just glad. I mean, I knew we'd make it. I know we already started Thursday night, but now like for the dailies, we were just mentioning before, just sports back in general. You have LeBron already dominating tonight, looking for championship number 4. But we got football back, daily back, DraftKings back, FanDuel back. It's all back.
That's what I was telling you. I got NBA on the TV. I'm streaming baseball games. I'm working on my football lineups for tomorrow. Yeah. It's a good time. But yeah, so we'll go ahead. We'll start getting into the lineup. We're doing this with the Russell Hantz Show, the sports division, which we are both members of. We have a page that you guys can go join. We'll go over that in a little bit, though, so we can hit these games. The first game that we have, or that I have listed, is Indianapolis and Jacksonville. This game has a total of 45, and Indianapolis is favored by 8 points. So do you have anybody going as far in this game, as far as quarterback?
One I played a lot, and it's because I like knowing that I like playing anytime a starting running back's going to be dirt cheap. I actually have James Robinson going in a few lineups because it allowed me to be flexible because he's only 4K on DraftKings. And they said he's going to start. I know they have Chris Thompson, and I know they're going to work in some other guys. But I think he'll get enough touches because they plan to use him in the passing game some too. And Jay Gruden, who's offensive coordinator, said they're going to get Robinson going. So at 4K, it allowed me to be flexible to get some higher-end people in. So I did put James Robinson in a bunch of my lineups. And the only cold I really played, I think I had 2 lineups that I worked Phillip Rivers in just because, Quinn, like I said, I love it, Quinn. Love it.
We'll get to that.
I did work in Phillip Rivers in some of my lineups because I think they're going to come out and, I think the Colts are going to win the division. So, over the Titans. So I think Phillip Rivers is going to actually have a good game tomorrow too. Put up some good numbers. Yeah. So I worked him into a few as well. Those are my 2 main guys from this matchup that I worked in.
Yeah, the good thing about this game is that week 1 always has people who play that don't normally play. So when they see Indianapolis versus Jacksonville, Jacksonville's had that defense for 5 or 6 years. That defense is no longer there. So I'm hoping, and I do have a little bit of Phillip Rivers, and I'm going to try to force Phillip Rivers more into my lineups because he's gonna shred that defense. They're not very good.
If I add, one thing too, real quick, I did add. I forgot to write him down. It's my own fault. Long week back being a teacher with everything going on. So believe me, it's crazy right now. But I actually got Marlon Mack in a few spots, and it was more in like these flex spots after I put my lineups together. And I think what they came out and said this week, I think Jonathan Taylor's going to be a beast. I think eventually in a year long, Jonathan Taylor's going to really take over and in dailies. But I really think week 1, if there's ever a week, I think this could also be a week that Marlon Mack, some of the ones I didn't play Rivers in, I fit Marlon Mack in too because I could see, I think they're going to score in the 30s. And I think there's going to be plenty to go around. And I think Marlon Mack's going to at least get a touchdown. And I think a lot of carries because I think they're going to get Mack going too. So,
yeah,
I agree with you, Quinn, man, too. Same. I like Quinn's all over too. I love it.
I made the decision to not play Mack. I axed him out of my player pool. I do, however, have quite a bit. Well, not quite a bit of Jonathan Taylor, even with the field. So the projected ownership is about 8 or 9%. I've got 9% in my lineup, so I'm even with the field. I'm not really taking a strong stand on him there, but I do think that he's going to be the guy. They drafted him. They said Marlon Mack, and they have a 1-2 punch. Anytime you draft a running back and you say that's your 1-2 punch, your plan is to play the 2. That's just kind of what it is. They're just not trying to disrespect Mack,
Yeah, no, I agree with you too. I just think I love Jonathan Taylor. I think he's going to be a star in this league. I think, sometimes it's like those weeks. I think the first week or 2, I think just like where Marlon Mack might be some value this for the year, and that's when I'm already going to fade him after. So,
yeah,
there's a good chance I can be completely wrong already week 1. It was just kind of like it fit well with like that spot, and I was like, with the ownership level being low, I thought he could be one where the lineups I put him in could be ones that could make a little payout for me there. So that's why I fit him in a few.
Yeah, I'm looking at James Robinson as well. He looks like he's getting a little bit of ownership. He's at about 6 to 7%. I have about 8% James Robinson. I don't know if I'll stick with that. The reason being is they're going to be behind, I feel like, the whole game. Hey, what's going on, Willie? How you doing, man? I think they're going to be behind the whole game. So, and you said that James Robinson, they've already said they're going to use him in the passing game. You said, right?
Because but it might be first and second down there too. Because Chris Thompson's going to play. I know that too. I think we'll get enough. I think he's going to get enough. But I don't disagree with you there too. It's just I just don't like Jacksonville in general. But it's just like from the past. I like when I know a guy's starting and at least going to see over 50% of the work share. When he's that cheap, it allows me to. It's worked for me in the past, and sometimes it doesn't. But you know what I mean. Like sometimes that. I like that he's 4K. Like for a couple years ago when James Conner and Jalen Samuels were getting like runs at so cheap, it helped me win a bunch of weeks and win some money. So
yeah, the only two other plays that I would have on this game is I do have a little bit of DJ Chark. I do like Chark. I think he's probably going to get about 25 to 30% of the target share. They don't because they just don't really have anybody else. They have that rookie Chenault. They have Chris Conley. And they have who's the
D.D. Westbrook.
D.D. Westbrook, yeah. Which for some reason they don't really target him as much. Great athlete, they just don't really target him as much. The one guy that I have that's going to be pretty low owned and he's pretty cheap that he may bust open the slate is Tyler Eifert. Super cheap on FanDuel. All the reports are saying that he's 100% healthy. He's going to be the pass catching tight end. He's not going to be a run blocker, a pass blocker, anything. When he's on the field, he's going to be running routes, and they're going to be behind in the game. So at least that's how I envision it. Is they're going to be behind in the game. Tyler Eifert could be a cheap tight end that gets, 5, 6, 7 targets. And if one of those is a touchdown, he's busting value, right? So I actually like Eifert.
Yeah, I like that too. I like that play. Like I didn't really go with Eifert, but I do like that play, especially at tight end.
Yeah, and that's strictly if you're in like I do mass multi-entries. Like I put 100, I max out a couple of different leagues, 150 lineups each one. You're more on the hand building side where you're more in like I would say the single entries, the 50-50 kind of lineups.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. So that's not a situation where you would want to use Tyler Eifert. It's more or less for the big tournaments. That so just so we can distinguish between these, we don't want you guys putting $100 in on a single entry and throwing in Eifert at tight end. That's more if you're entering a bunch of lineups. So so we'll move on to the next game. We have Green Bay against Minnesota. The total in this game as well is 45. And it looks like Minnesota's favored by 2.5 points at home. Let's see here. So who do you like in this game?
This is actually a game I really stayed away a lot from this game. I didn't really have much from either side going personally. Paid up for a running back. In my back, did I cut out?
You're a little bit choppy right now.
Okay. My internet says it's full. Sorry about that. But I mean, I didn't really play much in this. Like in all honesty, if I'm being honestly, I didn't play much. I didn't really see because it's one of those matchups like where they play a lot, and I just like I said, I have like the list of like why multiple I played. There's no one from this game that I played more than once. Like I think there was a lineup I did put Dalvin Cook in, but mostly like I said, I stayed away from this matchup. And I know you play a lot more than me, so I'm sure you had some more going in this game. But like I said, for me, like I said, this is one of the matchups that I stayed away from for like my daily lineups.
Yeah, I got a little bit in this game, more so on the Minnesota side than I do the Green Bay side. I was trying to work in a little bit of Aaron Jones, but it didn't work out too well for me. I didn't like the way it looked in some of the lineups. I have quite a bit of Adam Thielen. He's actually going to be my 5th most owned wide receiver. I've got him at about 22, 23%. The ownership looks like it's at about 15%. So I'll be over the field on Adam Thielen. The reason for that, I mean, who else is he going to throw the ball to? They got Justin Jefferson as a rookie, Kyle Rudolph. He didn't get very many targets. I do like Irv Smith Jr. as far as like in week 4, 5, 6, after they've had some time for him to get a full load because I think he's going to be a great tight end. But other than that, the only other guy that I have is Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook is probably – I think he's let me look real quick. He's my 3rd most owned running back. So I just think that's what the offense is going through are those two guys. And then on the other side, I do have Devontae Adams just because everything goes through Devontae Adams.
That's what I'm saying.
You don't really need to analyze that too much.
Yeah.
It's just Devontae Adams is just who he is, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame because Adams is a guy I looked at a lot too. Like I just kind of went with a lot of because I fit a lot of the top tier wide receivers in this week with like the plays how I did it. Like I was able to work in a lot of, and it just I thought about Adams, and I don't think you're like Adams is almost like a safe bet almost any week for the most part. It just I didn't work him in this week, but I think that is a good play.
He's at 17% right now, and I've got him at 22%. So I'm bringing a little bit over the field on Adams. But other than that, I don't really have a whole lot. in the game. Early on, I was thinking about the Minnesota defense for a little bit, just because, as we've discussed before, Aaron Rodgers isn't. I don't know if it's on my side, y'all said, but y'all are skipping. So Willie said we're skipping. I think it's fine. Are you? Am I skipping for you?
No, you spooled like once, and I think I did the one time too. I mean, mine says mine, and it says it's like 100% connected.
Yeah, I think it might. I think it might be you, Willie. I'm not sure because I see him fine, and I think I'm good. I got.
What about Quint? Quint, what about for you when you're watching?
Yeah, Quint, are we good? Just wait a second and see what Quint's doing this. Quint may not be in here. Let me see.
Let's see.
Yeah, we'll just keep going, and then if Quint does anything, yeah. So
he said he just said he said we're good. He just.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so it's probably you, Willie. Yeah, so what was I saying? Oh, the Minnesota defense. I thought about the Minnesota defense just because, like we've talked about before, Aaron Rodgers, he doesn't really attack down the field as much anymore. He's more of a dink and dunk and just goes straight to Davante Adams. That's kind of what he does. There's been reports that he wants to get a little bit more vertical. He wants to attack a little bit more, so that kind of put me off of Minnesota because I don't think they're an amazing defense right now.
Yeah. I think they could get some sacks. I think they get some sacks though. I think they could get some sacks tomorrow. So now they brought Ngakoue in.
Well, they lost.
Everson
Griffin to Dallas, and then
they did get Ngakoue though. They brought in Ngakoue in though,
right?
So. But it's like I said. I think this is one of those matchups that's always hard for me. Like any year, for the most part, like it's like the Minnesota Green Bay matchup in dailies is hard for me to like really pick some players I feel really good about rolling with, unless there's some real value just on the board. Except like Davante Adams, if you're going like it's hard. Like I mean, he's pretty much matchup proof.
Yeah, and I do like I won't play a ton of him, but I do like Allen Lazard as well as the wide receiver 2 on Green Bay, just because there's going to be so much attention on Adams. Like we said, the secondary for Minnesota is not great. Allen Lazard is a freak athlete, and Aaron Rodgers has proven that if you throw a ball and you catch it, or if he throws you a ball and you catch it, he's going to feed you some more. And Allen Lazard down the stretch at the end of last year, he was getting 7, 8, 9 targets a game, and he was catching quite a few of them. He had a lot of end zone targets as well in a couple of weeks. So Allen Lazard, I have him in a few lineups, but nothing too crazy, nothing major. So here's where I'm going to take a couple of stands is on the Cleveland and Baltimore game. So that totals 47.5 with Baltimore at -7.5 as the favorite. So how do you feel about what's going on here?
There's two guys I'd kind of stayed a little bit away from Cleveland, even though I thought about a bunch. Two Baltimore guys that worked my way into a few lineups. I got Mark Ingram in a few of my lineups. I still think he's going to be the top guy. I know they have like 13 really good running backs. I still just think every year you feel that way with Mark Ingram, and he still performs at a high level. And again, I think early on, like when you had no you really had team scrimmages, you had no preseasons, you're going to go with your reliable Mark Ingram before Dobbins, before some of the other guys that are there. I think Ingram could score easily 1 or 2 touchdowns this first game. And I also worked my way in he was like 5K. Hollywood Brown. I think I could see some strikes. He just worked my way into a lot of lineups. He was a good value as like my third receiver when I put together a lot of my teams, or like as my flex option. I think Hollywood Brown could have a good game, especially if it's just like one. He only needs 1 or 2 big plays, and he's going to get enough targets. He's like him and McCole Hardman are very similar, but Hollywood Brown has more opportunity than McCole Hardman for the Chiefs, where it's like that boom or bust. But I think this could be one of those boom weeks for Hollywood Brown.
Yeah, so the way I look at it is the new head coach in Cleveland is Kevin Stefanski. He was the offense coordinator in Minnesota. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at what he did in Minnesota as the OC, and what he did is he ran the ball and he took shots down the field. He's got a guy at wide receiver now who's named Odell Beckham, who has had he had a rough year, not great. He wasn't very healthy. There's a lot of weird things going on with him right now that we don't really need to address. But
the number 2 might be involved.
Yeah,
we'll leave it at that. Though.
So I like Nick Chubb here because Stefanski has shown it. Even Dalvin Cook, he was a workhorse back. I like Nick Chubb. I know a lot of people are talking about Kareem Hunt. I think he's going to be more of the third down back, the long second down. Yeah, you're right, Willie. The long second down back, those kinds of things. But I think Nick Chubb is who's going to get a bulk of the carries. And then I like Odell because if you see with Diggs when he was in Minnesota, attack down the field, a different route tree. He ran all the routes. He's got a talent in Odell Beckham right now. And Baker Mayfield, I don't think Baker Mayfield is much different than Kirk Cousins. I really don't. I think talent-wise, they're probably about the same.
And like I said, when Case Keenum was there too, it was like the similar archetype as well. When Keenum was at Minnesota as well, when they had that really good year until they got whooped on by my Eagles in the playoffs. But
right. So what they're going to do, Stefanski is he's going to pound the ball. Yep. He's going to bring the secondary up, and then he's going to attack down the field. That's what he did. So I just think Odell's as much as it doesn't look like it, I think Odell's in a decent spot. I have quite a bit of Odell to back that up. So I'm putting my money where my mouth is, I guess. He's my second highest owned wide receiver this week. And it's also because, like I said, I do a lot of the tournaments. So I'm looking to get different somewhere. And if a lot of people are going to fade Odell because of the Baltimore defense, I'm going to pile on him because I think he's in a schematically a good spot. And that's just, as far as Baltimore is concerned, I don't have a ton for Baltimore. I don't have a lot of Hollywood Brown. Lamar Jackson on FanDuel's, was he 81?
Yeah, he's over 8 on DraftKings, I believe, or like high 7s.
Let me just make sure real quick.
Yeah.
Because there's no way that I can get a ton of Lamar Jackson if he's 80. I think he's 81. Let me see. Whoa, wait a second. He's 9,400. Yeah. So I mean, I'm not getting a ton of him. It reflects in my ownership here. He's like my 5th or 6th rated quarterback as far as ownership is concerned. I just can't do it. I know he's a running back. He'll get you the rushing yards. He has to come back down for me. His TD percentage last year was over 9%, which is outrageous. The average is like 5%. There's no way he's going to be able to keep that up. And if he does, it's the greatest back-to-back season you've ever seen in your life. I just don't think it's going to happen.
Well, you're spot on with that because there'd be weeks. I mean, he'd throw for 110 yards but have 4 touchdowns, and that's the key there. You know, what I mean, or he'd rush for a ton and then get 3 rushing touchdowns. So, like you said, the touchdown percentage is what carried Lamar. So for me too, like I said, I pretty much faded him in all the ones I did. Like I didn't play any. Like again, I'm also playing. Again, my side's a little different than what Cameron's doing. So like I said, I'm playing a little different with like the events like I'm going with. So I didn't go with Lamar on any of mine at all.
Yeah, I'm taking high upside guys because that's how you win the tournaments. Like I'm risking the money to go to the top. You know, some of these plays that I'm saying I'm good with, they could absolutely tank. They could, but if you're playing in tournaments, that's what you have to do. You have to find these guys that have high upside and play them. So we'll go ahead and move on to the next one. We have the Buffalo Bills and the New York Jets. This total is so low, 39.5 with the Bills minus 6.5. So where are you at on this one?
This is another one that I like completely stayed away from. I thought about a few for the Bills. Like I thought about Josh Allen for a little bit, but I was like, there's still other quarterback options I like a lot better, even some that are higher money wise that I like. I was kind of telling you like the 2 main guys I looked at that we'll get to later. Jamison Crowder was so cheap, I almost just won it because I'm like, who else are they going to throw to for the most part? I know they had Perryman, but I mean, Darnold did love throwing to Crowder. He gets a ton of targets, but I still couldn't almost put myself in there. Like I really was not. Out of spite, I was just going to play Chris Herndon just so I could say it on our thing, just because I know how much you love Chris Herndon. But
if you follow, all the beat writers, this guy has been hurt and come back and hurt again and come back to where he may not be ready.
Yeah. Well, what was that? What was that day? Was that last week? We were talking like on Twitter. We were just going back and forth. Like he literally was out for the season, and 5 minutes later, he was back practicing.
I see the tweet. Yeah, this. That left practice, serious, significant injury. And then by the time you responded, there was a new tweet that said he's back on the field practicing in full. I'm just like, I'm not doing it with this guy this year. I've done it for 2 years. I'm not hopping on that roller coaster. No. I exited the whole Jets team. I have 0 Jets. I have no interest in the Jets.
Yeah. And I don't, like I said, Crowder was the only one I considered on the Jets. Like, and then the Bills, Bills are still like the one that was like kind of showing me. Like, I almost like whoever's going to play at running back because I don't dislike. I like Singletary and Zach Moss, but it's like I kind of want to see where it's going. Like, for dailies and even year long. This was a game I've really just faded most of this game, like in general, like for both teams.
Buffalo could probably hit this total by themselves against that Jets defense. If I'm just being honest, they got Diggs on the outside.
Yeah.
Josh Allen throws it down the field. John Brown busts people open. I mean, at running back, you've got Devin Singletary, Zach Moss. They're not great. Like, those two guys aren't amazing plays, but I could easily see Buffalo getting 30 points in this game because the Jets defense is just not good. It's terrible.
No. When you also got rid of Jamal Adams, who was like your one.
And CJ Mosley opted out.
And Mosley opted out, so. Yeah, I mean, if there's guys on the Bills I was looking, like, it's like, and even Josh Allen too, it's just, I don't know. I think with a lot of the other matchups and just I was able to work in a lot of different things. For me, like, I wanted to find some Bills because I figured they'd be low ownership, but I just, for me personally,
over somewhere. And if
that is true.
if the over under is 39.5 in an NFL game, goodness gracious, can we just bet the over? Yeah. Like, if that hits the under, I'll lose my money. But 39.5, goodness.
Yeah, that's crazy. But like, what do you got? What do you got going for? Got anything going for this?
I got a little bit of Josh Allen. I got a little bit of Diggs. Man, I so badly just want to play so much Zach Moss, but I know this isn't the week. I know he's not going to get the huge workload. So I like Zach Moss. I've got Zach Moss in my team quite a bit.
Yeah, I found him a lot in my year-longs too. I think he's going to be really, really good. I think Singletary's it's going to flip where Singletary is going to be more of like the change of pace, line him up in the slot some, but Zach Moss is going to be the guy.
Yeah, so we'll move on to the next game, which is a bit of a juicier game. This one's a bit better.
So Chris Herndon wasn't juicy enough for you?
No, not even close. We have Las Vegas and Carolina. So this game, a lot of decisions have to be made on this game. The first one is the over-under is 47.5. Las Vegas is favored by 2.5 points. So it's a good total, close game. What are you doing with Christian McCaffrey?
I faded him a lot, like for because I like I said, I worked Michael Thomas more in like as a high end guy more so than McCaffrey. I went big Raiders. Like Josh Jacobs was one of my biggest plays. I put him in a lot. The Raiders defense, like I know defense isn't like my biggest thing, but I played the Raiders defense. They're like 2,600. They a lot because I think they're just going to be all over. I don't like Carolina's offensive line. I think the Raiders are going to score points. I think they'll be able to get the Bridgewater. McCaffrey's still going to do his thing, but just with his price, I mean, he's over 10K. I did a lot of Jacobs. Like I said, I fit in a little bit. I wanted to I'm trying to figure out for like the receiving core. Like I still may make some more changes. I want to look at it more tonight. Figure out who's going to get the targets because there's a lot of good values between Ruggs, Edwards, Renfro, like on DraftKings right now, and I think like that's one I'm still going to look at. But I have a lot of Josh Jacobs, and I actually worked Carr into a couple of mine too. Panthers, I kind of stayed away from for the most part for this one.
So I have
obviously McCaffrey's you can't go wrong with if you can figure out your lineup. But
yeah,
you know what I mean. But
with McCaffrey is he's 10,000 on FanDuel. So. Yeah. Do I want to
same on DraftKings?
Yeah. Do I want to pay the 10,000 for McCaffrey and go cheap somewhere else, or do I fade McCaffrey and get two $6,500 players that could potentially have higher ceilings? That's what I'm struggling with. As far as my ownership on him, I'm just looking at the projected ownership here. Hold on 1 second. So the projected ownership is 36%. So that's significant in tournaments. Right now, I've got him at 24%, and I think that's only going to go down. He's the workhorse. He's going to get all the touches. I just think there's enough value at other positions that I could find to where I could have higher ceilings. And granted, he has that 35-point ceiling. There's no doubt about it. But the chances of him getting a 35 are much less than somebody else who all I need him to get is to 20 and then 20, right? So we'll see. I'm at 24% right now. On the other side, the Raiders, I've got a ton of Derek Carr. I've got a ton of Derek Carr, a ton of Edwards, a ton of Ruggs, a ton of Waller. I've got all of that. I don't have a lot of Jacobs because he's so expensive. If I was playing, I do have a single entry that I'm going to go into. I may consider Jacobs because he seems to have a good floor. I don't necessarily know about his ceiling. Whereas with Ruggs, I know his ceiling is just exponential. He could easily bust you up for 40, 50-yard touchdown, hit value on one play. So I have a ton of them. I'm just looking at the
ownership. And I like that. Yeah, I like that too. I like the Raiders just in general. Whichever way you want to go. Like I said, for me, like I want more like Jacobs and maybe mix in like a receiver too. Like I said, I don't like playing the receiver or the running back quarterback obviously combo when I put these together for the most part. So like I said, or like I think say it again.
That Carolina defense is so bad. They're not good.
Yeah, they're going to start like half their starting lineups to be rookies. And I like Carr, like you said, Carr, the receiving core, like who you want to play. I think that's a great thing too. Like if you're going Carr like that, then I probably wouldn't play Jacobs. I'd play other running backs too. So I think either way, I think the Raiders, for however you're doing it, some Raiders should be in your lineups. A lot of your lineups, some type of Raiders offense.
Yeah, and I think you should probably also target at least one of these Carolina receivers, whether it be Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel, maybe even a tight end, Ian Thomas. If you're looking for some serious salary relief, Ian Thomas could help you out there. If I were to go to a receiver on Carolina, it would probably be DJ Moore. I know that DJ Moore is the most complete receiver. He runs all the routes. I know they've said that Curtis Samuel, the reports and the beat writers and the coaching staff, they've said that they want to get Curtis Samuel more involved. They want to get him to run a bunch more routes. But I don't know. I think DJ Moore is the better play, personally. That's who I would go with. I don't have any of them, but if I were to pick a Panthers receiver, that's who I would go with. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. I don't know if it was mine or your end. You like cut out the last like 10 seconds. So,
okay.
But now we're good.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll go on to the next game here. Let's see who's the next one here. We've got your game of the week.
Yeah.
We got Seattle and Atlanta. You want to take this one?
I'll take it because I played a ton of people in this game.
Yeah, we got a total of 49, and Seattle's favored by 1.5.
Yeah. So first off, Russell Wilson's my most played quarterback, and I know he's even 7K on DraftKings. However, like I think there's a lot of good value all over the board. Played a lot of Russell Wilson, played a lot of DK Metcalf, and if I didn't go Metcalf, I played a lot of Tyler Lockett all over the Seattle offense. I think it's going to be a shootout. And then in turn, I have a lot of lanes. I have Matt Ryan in some. I have once I know I'm Matt Ryan, I played Todd Gurley because I think this is going to be one of the weeks where Todd Gurley looks a little like the Todd Gurley of old. I think he's going to be involved in the passing game a lot too. I worked in Julio Jones and I worked in Calvin Ridley into a bunch of lineups. And my number one tight end play of the whole week is Hayden Hurst at 4.3K on DraftKings. I only played 2 tight ends. We'll get to the other one. We didn't get to the game yet. I only played there's 1 or 2 of the tight ends in every single one I did for the ones I did. Like I said, I do about 10 lineups, so not as much. But like I said, these are the 2. I played the Atlanta tight ends with Matt Ryan between Tony Gonzalez and then Austin Hooper have been 2 of the most productive tight ends in all of fantasy football over the past 7-8 years when they've been playing. So, season long on Gurley. I mean, I think it's still tough because of just the arthritic knee does not go away. I think this week though he could really look close to the old Todd Gurley. And like I said, I do like him. He's at about 6K. I think he could be a very good play in daily and year long week 1.
Yeah, I mean, I'm good. I'm good with Gurley in spots, but season long, I don't know how I feel about season long. That's a little bit, like you said, that knee injury, degenerative knee, they don't just go away.
It's sad because he was such a super talent, man, that you don't see much.
He would carry refrigerators on his back for training. That might be why his knees aren't very good anymore.
That may not help.
So in this game, Russell Wilson, he's one of my favorite plays this week because his target, his pass distribution, it's pretty narrow. It's going to go to either Lockett or Metcalf, one of those 2. He's also come out and said that he wants to throw the ball more. He wants to unleash as far as the passing game is concerned. The running game, they want Chris Carson to be the guy, but they went out and they signed Carlos Hyde. So I don't know exactly what's going on there. I'm not confident. I know Chris Carson, if he gets a workload, could be a good play because he can get the goal line carries. But I think Wilson, Lockett, and Metcalf are probably the best plays here. But what's unfortunate is that does Gordon still have to serve a suspension? I didn't look and see.
I thought he did. I thought they signed him, but I don't think he's playing. I don't think he's playing this week yet. I'm almost positive of that. I don't think so. I mean, I'm not 100% sure. but like I said, I love Seattle. I think Seattle and my favorite team, which we didn't get to yet, I think are my two favorite plays this week is Russ, Metcalf, and Lockett. I love.
Yeah, and I like every
parts of the Falcons, and I love the parts of the Falcons too. I think this is going to be one of those 35-31. I think it's going to go I think it's going to go. You said it was 49, right? 49 and a half.
Yeah, 49.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. This is going to be one of the highest scoring games. I don't like really either. I know the Seattle's got Jamal Adams, but I don't really like the corners on either teams. I think Matt Ryan, and Russell Wilson are going to light it up.
Yeah, and like on Atlanta, I like everybody on Atlanta. I got a lot of Matt Ryan. I got a lot of Julio. I got a lot of Calvin Ridley. I didn't get as much Hayden Hurst as I thought that I would get. I tried. I upped his percentage. I upped his projection. He just didn't come in a lot, and I think that might be reflective of some other things that we'll get to. Price considered, because I went pretty heavy, like we've said.
I literally have Hayden Hurst, and like I said, I do 7 year long. I have him in 6 of my 7 year long drafts. Hayden Hurst this year, not necessarily as my starter, but just like I think he's going to be top 7-8 tight end this year in year long.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because we're on to my game of the week, where I have season long everywhere in this game, and I got the bad news that it's the Eagles and Redskins, by the way. It's a total of 42.
The team formerly known as the Redskins.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. It's the Washington football team. It just sounds ridiculous.
WFT.
Yeah. So sorry, guys. If I offended anyone, I do apologize. It's the Washington football team.
I'm offended. I might leave. So I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, the over/under is 42. Philly is favored by 5.5, which I thought that was kind of crazy. It was that close. Maybe that line changed. Maybe that line changed. I didn't realize it because I didn't look at it before this since Sanders went out. But Miles Sanders is ruled out. I would have it no other way. I have almost 100% exposure to him everywhere in season long. I just had to redo my ownership because he was my most owned running back. So he is out. And now I've got this pesky little man, Boston Scott, who is just going nuts in my projections, my ownership, everything. And I don't want that much of him, but I feel like I almost have to have some Boston Scott. I mean, you're the Philadelphia guy. Corey Clement, Boston Scott, and who's their other running back?
The guy they signed from the Lions. I'm blanking on his name, the undrafted rookie that runs like a 4.3 whatever. I'm just blanking on his name. Derek. Anyway. He's the guy the Lions had that got cut, but he's not. It's going to be both. I think Clement's going to get work too, but Boston Scott was already going to be worked in the passing game because you saw what he did even when him and Sanders were both playing. He is dynamic. And he can run the ball. Like when they finished the season, he was running in touchdowns. Because remember, Sanders was banged up a little bit at the end of the season too. I think Boston Scott could be a good play tomorrow. I'm all in on the Eagles. Like I didn't go running back. I was staying away from Sanders a little bit for the dailies. I think he's going to be an absolute stud once he's healthy. Like we talked about a lot, even when we talked about the season preview. Sanders is a perfect fit for Doug Peterson's offense. I think he's just going to be an absolute beast in the NFL. Carson Wentz at just over 6,000, I think. One of the biggest, smartest plays this week. I have Zach Ertz. Like I said, Hurst I had, and Zach Ertz are my only two tight ends I played in any of mine. Zach Ertz, especially when he's already out on to prove, because the Eagles are idiotic that they have not redone his contract yet. And this my lock of the week, which means this will get hurt the first play just because I'm saying my lock of the week. I played Deshaun Jackson in every single lineup I put in. He's good for 1 week. If you saw what he does when he's fully healthy for one game with Carson Wentz was against the formerly known Redskins last year. He had 2 touchdowns, about 200 yards receiving, and about 7 catches. And the Redskins, or the Washington football team, is even worse this year.
Going down the narrative street, huh? Narrative, huh?
Yeah. So Deshaun Jackson at less than 5K, I think for 1 week until he gets hurt. This is going to be, again, monster fantasy week. So I had a lot of stacks, a lot of the Wentz, Jackson, Ertz stacks going in a bunch of my lineups this week.
Yeah, you're aware, Carson Wentz this week. I'm huge on Carson Wentz. He's my most owned quarterback. I've got him at 28%, which that's probably going to end up going up because I have to go back and redo some stuff. He's projected for only, and I thought this was pretty low. He's projected for only 7% ownership. So I'm just going to have to hammer that. I'm going to lap the field a few times.
Yeah.
And if he has a good game, my lineups are sitting in great position. I've got him with Deshaun Jackson, Zach Ertz. I've got double stacks with both of them. I've got a couple with some Jalen Reagor. I don't know. See, here's the thing is I like Arcega-Whiteside as a big-bodied receiver. Yeah. He just doesn't get the work. He doesn't get the looks. I'd love to play him and get some end zone targets, but he just won't get out there. So I probably won't work him into any lineups at all.
I think he's a wait and see. I think he's kind of a wait and see how they're going to use him. He's definitely going to play, and he might be like a starter. But I think when they go too tight, when they bring in Goddard, I think Whiteside the one that's going to come out because you're still going to have Jackson. I think they're going to play Reagor a lot, and assuming that he's full go, he's full practice. So even when he had the banged up shoulder. I think they're going to play Reagor a lot and get like they want him. And a sneaky upside guy for the Eagles going forward, John Hightower, who starred in this camp so far as a 5th-round pick. Won't be surprised in a couple weeks from now you seeing him play a lot. But I still have some hope for Whiteside. I say he was a 2nd-round pick last year. So
yeah, massive wingspan, catches everything in the area. It's just when he gets in the game, he doesn't get the looks. I don't know what's going on with that. Yeah, so on the other side, we have Washington. I have 100% exposure in season longs to Antonio Gibson. So undoubtedly, he's going to go out there and get 5 carries, and that's it. But anyway.
J.D. McKissick show.
Yeah. So his price is cheap. He's going to get passing He's going to get passing work. He's going to get some running work. It's kind of a rotation, so I don't have a ton of exposure to him on dailies. Let me look and see what my actual ownership is on him real quick. Let's see. Antonio Gibson. I have him at 14%. The field roughly has 10%. So I'm a little bit over the field on him. The reason being is they're going to be behind. He's a pass catching guy, so he's going to be on the field. J.D. McKissick. I'm not a huge believer in him getting a ton of the work. Like I've been reading articles and beat writers and coaching. Everybody said J.D. McKissick's going to get good run. I'm not buying into that. I'm just not.
He sucks. I watch him play enough in Seattle. I'd rather take a chance on Bryce Love getting a few carries. But again, that's also the Washington.
Healthy scratch. Bryce Love's supposed to be a healthy scratch.
I know. I'm just saying I don't get why they're playing McKissick. Like you play Gibson and then spell him with Love, the young guys. Your team stinks. Play the younger guys. I hate when teams do this. This is why teams suck for so long. Yeah. J.D. McKissick's been in the league enough. He stinks. All right? Like, don't play
Speaking
him.
Of young guys, at receiver, we've got Terry McLaurin. Just a stud guy. Big Ten guy. Big Ten. Mm-hmm. I know you're a Big Ten fan.
Not that team, but he plays for unfortunately the best team he's from the best team in the Big Ten.
Yeah, and then
I hate to say it, but
where are you at on Dwayne Haskins? I'm kind of at a decision point. Do I have 2 or 3 lineups with Dwayne Haskins, or do I just mark him out because he can play? I think he can play, but is he there? Is he ready?
I don't know. He did. I mean, his best game of last season, I think, was against the Eagles. That shootout at the end when Greg Ward caught the game winner. Another receiver that's still in the Eagles' fold.
They're going to be behind. I mean, Washington. So, I feel like
I have some McLaurin, and I also have some Steven Sims who came on at the end of the year. They have no one else besides the 2 of them for the most part. And Sims became like a decent favorite target along with McLaurin. Sorry, Quinn. I know you're an Ohio State guy. I'm a Penn State guy. We can still be friends though. And I heard rumor is hopefully the Big Ten might be coming back October 10th.
Yeah, they'll be back in 3 days.
I hope that so much so. But that's a whole nother thing. But I think they're both good players. I mean, I think Darius Slay's gonna travel against McLaurin. That doesn't mean I still think McLaurin will get his. I like Steven Sims. I fit Steven Sims in a bunch of my lineups, actually.
I keep hearing about Darius Slay this, Darius Slay that. Pro Football Focus, and that's who I use. It's Pro Football Focus. I know. When I don't know about a play, like if I don't know the rating of a player or how good they are, if I'm kind of iffy, what I do is I go to Pro Football Focus and I look at the stats and analytics on them.
Yeah. Darius I know he's not a fan. They don't like him.
Yeah, Darius Slay is name only with Pro Football Focus. They said they feel like he hadn't been great in a few years. So if they feel that way, guess what? I'm gonna feel that way. So I'm not really worried about Darius Slay personally. That's just my take on it.
If you watch the other corners on the Eagles, except somehow they shut down your Cowboys to win the division, but they're pretty terrible. So I'll take whatever I can get. Right. Sorry, I had to throw a dig. I had to throw one dig in.
It's all right. Luckily, they're not on the slate, so I don't have to deal with them breaking my heart.
Next week.
Yeah. Next week I'll
and yes, Quinn, I agree. We're friends. And Day's a hell of a coach. Even though I don't like Ohio State, he's a hell of a coach.
But yeah, so Sims, McLaurin, Gibson. Those are pretty much the only plays.
Mhm.
I'm probably going to talk myself into stacking Gibson. I'm sorry, stacking Haskins with McLaurin and Sims, just because the targets, they're going to be pretty narrow on who it goes to. Logan Thomas at tight end. I kind of thought about him a little bit, like just as like one or two lineups, just because, like I said, there's not a lot there. They're going to have to pass the ball. Who's going to be the red zone guy? Who's getting the red zone targets?
That is good. I think Sims actually at the end. I'm just going by the end of the year. You know, what I mean, because he started playing. I know at least against the Eagles. I know Sims was targeted a lot in the red zone with Haskins.
Yeah, all you need is.
But Thomas, I mean, all you need is one, especially at tight end. If you get one or two, and Logan Thomas could have 2 catches. They both could be touchdowns, and that's a big week.
Crushes, but he's also a former quarterback too. He was a quarterback at Virginia Tech, wasn't he? Was it Virginia Tech?
Virginia Tech, and then he was on the Cardinals for a little bit as like they tried to play him at tight end too. Which I mean, there's a couple weeks he showed something a couple of years ago, but
that's always good. I always like players that formerly played quarterback and turn into receivers or tight ends, or sometimes there's been a couple cases where they're running backs. But I like that
offensive linemen like Lane Johnson.
yeah. They see the field through the quarterback eyes, right? So they're playing a different position, but they see what the quarterback's seeing. They're on the same page, so it helps because when you're reading routes, a tight end, if he reads it as an in, the quarterback's probably reading it as an in. If he reads it as an out, quarterback's probably reading it as an out. So it seems to work better when they both have played the position. Logan Thomas has played the position. They need a red zone target. They worked their tight ends a lot in the past between Vernon Davis and Jordan Reed. So I don't know. He's cheap. He's a dart throw. I'm not recommending that you play a lot of him, but if you're doing mass multi-entries, I'm going to have a few of them. Maybe 2 or 3, just in case he doesn't get a touchdown. And
I think this game will hit the over too. So I think this is one of those games that
both defenses.
Like you said, I think and unfortunately as an Eagles fan, I get to see that.
And is his name slipping me right now? The secondary guy for the Eagles. That's been
Jalen Mills.
Jalen Mills.
He's a starting safety. He's a starting safety now. Doesn't even play corner.
That guy there. He'd cover the 2 guy and get burned. He'd cover the number 3 guy, get burned. They'd work him as the nickel corner. He'd get burned, and then they said, "You know what? We like him so much, we're going to move."
That's why he's the starting safety now.
That guy's he's terrible. But Philadelphia loves him. I don't know what it is. They love him.
I don't.
The next game we got is New England and Miami. The over/under is 41.5, and New England is favored by 7 points. So you got anything in this game?
I wanted to work in it. Like I got Cam Newton in a couple just because of the price, and I got a few. So I threw Sony Michel in a couple, and I don't like that I did that. But I was like, you know what? I mean, Damian Harris is out. They still have James White. And I threw James White in a couple too. But then there's a couple ones I threw the Dolphins defense in as just a complete other. Because there's also a part of me that was like, I think the Dolphins might win this game. Like, you know what I mean? And I don't know. I was all over the place with this one. I got a few stuff in. I wanted to play, like, I fell off I wanted to play Preston Williams in some, and I got him in a couple, but I went a little lower on ownership. I think it's my own fault because I got a little scared because he was playing. I think we'll touch on Kittle soon. I think we're just good because that's a 4:00 slate.
Yeah, a couple games from now. Yeah, but we'll get to Kittle. Yeah,
but I like Preston Williams. I actually like Williams and Devontae Parker both a lot. I like the Dolphins' offense. I like my boy Gesicki. Yes, I'm going to mention him again. Penn State guy, just to get you pissed off, Cam. But no, this week I didn't play as much, but I do like Preston Williams. I got Preston Williams in a few. Like I said, tight end wise, I literally was Ertz and Hurst. I thought of Gesicki a little bit, but I still think the Patriots have to defense opted out. Their secondary is still pretty good. So I got Williams in a few. I got Cam Newton in like 1 or 2. Even though I mostly played Russell Wilson and Wentz, and then Newton and like Derek Carr in a couple. But I did get Sony Michel in a couple and James White in 1 or 2. Just a little exposure.
Yeah, when you're looking at these games, you have to look at it from the perspective of the coaching staff, what they tend to do, what they like to do. The number one thing I'm thinking is Bill Belichick has quite an ego, right? Mm-hmm. He signed Cam Newton. He played games. Said Cam Newton's not going to be the starter. He's going to learn the offense. He's going to go out there. I highly doubt that Cam Newton is going to go out there and they're just going to unleash him for 40 pass attempts this game. attack down the field, let him run wild. My best guess would be is Belichick calls a lot of running plays, a lot of Cam Newton rolling out, throwing short passes to Julian Edelman, N'Keal Harry, those kinds of things. I don't see them just unleashing Cam Newton on week 1. I could be completely wrong, but that's just kind of how I see it. A lot of dump passes to James White, those kinds of things. So I'm not as high on Cam Newton this week. He is cheap. You can play him. He has upside. I'm personally not going to do it. On the opposite side, I love a Fitzpatrick double stack with Devontae Parker and Preston Williams. And if you don't like the double stack, you just like the single stack, I like Preston Williams even more. Mm-hmm. You're going to get Stephon Gilmore on Parker. Shutdown corner, one of the top 2 or 3 corners in the league without a question. But after that, a lot of people have opted out from that defense. A lot of people aren't playing. Yeah, Quint, thank you. So they're gonna be attacking down the field. Fitzpatrick, he feeds number 1 wide receivers. Everywhere he's been, his number 1 he picks a receiver and he just feeds them every single week. He did it with Mike Evans. He did it with Devontae Parker when he finally took over. I'm trying to go through other receivers. I can't think of them right now, but that's what he normally does, is just feeds his receivers. So I like it. And he's only going to throw to 2. I don't think Jakeem Grant's going to – I think he opted out. I don't think he's going to get a thing. Isaiah Ford, he's going to be a third wide receiver, but then he's not going to get a lot of targets.
Yeah. Gesicki will get some at tight end.
Yeah, Gesicki's the other guy. Great athlete, but, like I said, Fitzpatrick, he doesn't usually use his tight ends a lot. He doesn't. Yeah. And
I think they'll use him a lot, like in the slot, though, just because he's like with the athlete. I think he's going to score a bunch of touchdowns this year, though. More so, I don't know how his yards will be great, but I think Gesicki's going to score a bunch of touchdowns.
Yeah, and they'll keep it close. Miami typically, if you're going down Narrative Street, Miami, when they go into New England, they typically play pretty well. No matter who's the coach or who's playing on that team, they usually play pretty well.
I picked Miami to win this week.
I wouldn't go that far. but
I went that far. I went off the ledge. Why not? Just why not?
But yeah, so I don't have a ton of interest on anything. I may have a little bit of interest in N'Keal Harry just because I think he's a good talent. Maybe a little bit of Julian Edelman just as a safety blanket, but nothing crazy. Miami on that side, I'm not touching that running back situation. Jordan Howard, good God. How does this man continue to get paid?
And think of last year in the Eagles. You had Miles Sanders all year and you wasted the first half of the season giving Jordan Howard the ball. Where then he finally went away. Then you had Sanders and Boston Scott tearing it up. Then just shows you, I was like, why do we – you don't need Jordan Howard clogging up. He's an old school running back. I know he had a good start to his career with the Bears, but it wasn't dynamic. It wasn't anything dynamic. Cohen was still more dynamic. Howard put up yards. It's just – I don't get it. I'd rather take a chance with Matt Breida if you're going to play anybody.
My favorite play from this game is Preston Williams. That's my favorite.
Yeah, same.
So we'll go ahead and move on to the next game. The Bears and the Lions. It's a 42.5 over-under. And the spread, let's see. The Lions are favored by 2.5 points. All right. So where are you at on this one?
Yeah. I like wide receivers in this one, even though the Bears quarterback play stinks. But so I like Marvin Jones a lot, especially Kenny Golladay is doubtful. I think I like Marvin Jones before that anyway.
Galladay's out.
Is he officially out? Okay, I knew he was doubtful, and it was most likely he was definitely gonna be out. I pushed Marvin Jones in a lot of my lineups. I think Stafford's just going to throw him the ball a ton. Allen Robinson's in almost all of my lineups. I thought for a top tier receiver on DraftKings, he's only 6'5", and I thought that was a great price. I also like me some Anthony Miller. I think Detroit's secondary. We'll see with Jeffrey how. I think Okudah will be a good player, but I think their secondary stinks. I like Allen Robinson was also one of my guys I think I have in every year-long league almost, or at least 90% of mine. And I like Anthony Miller a little bit too. So I got Miller and a few going too. But I'm pushing big. Marvin Jones, Allen Robinson, I have going almost in. I think they're my 2 highest owned receivers besides, like I said, Deshaun Jackson I'm playing everywhere too. And it's good. Marvin Jones is only 5'5", and Robinson 6'5". Those prices are not bad at all.
Yeah, and can we just take a moment and can we just pray and hope to the football gods that they get Allen Robinson a dang quarterback at some point in his career before his career is over. Because this guy is
he's a top 10 receiver playing with Blake Bortles, Trubisky, and Chase Daniel. Imagine him playing with anybody. Why can't the Eagles have imagine him playing with Wentz? Holy hell! Even with Wentz, get.
Like we just get this guy a quarterback, and he will just crush. He'll be
so good.
He's so good.
He's so good. He catches everything.
So in this game, I hate it. I'm gonna have Trubisky. The reason being, David Montgomery's been hurt. They said he's probable to play. I don't see him getting a massive workload. What does that mean? Does that mean Tariq Cohen's going to get workload? They're not going to run him between the tackles. They're gonna flash him outside, dump passes. So that tells me that most likely Trubisky is going to be dropping back short passes, a lot of passes for Trubisky. So I do as well. I have a lot of Allen Robinson, got a little bit of Anthony Miller, quite a bit of Tariq Cohen, because they're going to have to pass. They don't have a running game. So it's going to have to go through Trubisky. And also, this is an audition. As much as they say he won the starting job, Trubisky, he needs to come out and have a good game, or he's benched, and he's looking for a new team.
Yep.
And on the other side, I as well. I agree. I have a ton of Marvin Jones. I've got a lot of Matt Stafford. I think he's my second. Let me see here. Matt Stafford might be my second owned quarterback.
That's the thing. I think the Bears defense is the most overrated defense in the NFL. Like, even when you look at the numbers, like, they were like 15th against the pass. That's very average last year. I know they have Khalil Mack. Mack's going to get his stats. They're not that good. And Roquan Smith's a good player. I think they're one of the more overrated, especially fantasy-wise. Remember, there is a difference between real-life defense and fantasy, like, where, like, teams, how they stop. I know they get, like, turnovers and stuff, so they're a good fantasy defense. But what I mean is teams are able to put fantasy points up against their defense. That's where I'm – you know what I mean by that. Like, like I said, they're able to be – thrown on, teams can run on them. Like I said, quarterbacks can get points against them. I think Stafford's a very good. Like I said, I didn't go that route, but I think Stafford is a good play this week against the Bears defense. I just don't think they're as great. Like, team put up fantasy. I think Marvin Jones is gonna have a great week. If Galladay was there, I would like Galladay too. I'd like both of them. I would just like the receivers in this game for both.
Hawkinson too. I like Hawkinson on the middle.
Yep.
Second year tight ends in their second year make massive leaps. Typically, in the first year, rookie tight ends, they don't do very well. They're learning the system. It's a different game from college to the NFL as a tight end. That second year and third year, they make massive leaps. So I like Hawkinson a lot.
I think both Iowa tight ends, second-year guys are going to have huge jumps. We're not going to talk about Fant because Denver plays Monday night, but I think Noah Fant's going to be a stud.
Oh, Noah Fant's going to go nuts. Yeah, but anyway, you're right. That's on a different slate. I love it. But so – and you have to break down this offense as well when you're looking at Detroit, right? Their running back situation. I mean, I don't know what Kerryon Johnson did to disrespect that organization, but this man here, he runs the ball well, he catches the ball well, and then they go out and they sign the corpse of Adrian Peterson, who I love. He's one of my favorite players of all time, but the man needs to retire. Right, like he can still play a little bit, but he's just retired, stay healthy. Then they've got Swift, who I believe is injured at right now.
I think he fully practiced, so he's good.
So that's a rotation at best.
Yeah, and they're gonna play. And they saw Bo Scarborough too, just to throw it in there.
He was a Dallas guy.
I don't get it. It's different if you have two guys, and I agree. I think it's just because Kerryon got hurt, so that's why when he's played, he's been fantastic.
Yeah.
If you have two, just play Swift and Kerryon. They both could get enough to be fantasy relevant. But Adrian Peterson's going to get carries. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Peterson's going to get carries, so it kind of screws it up. Yeah, so I don't really like anyone there yet because I don't know what they're going to do. And Matt Patricia's a Bill Belichick guy, so he's going to throw running backs out there.
Yeah. No, I agree. And so you have to go with the consistent and the workload, and I think the workload is going to be with Stafford and the receiver. That's just what I think. So, but we'll go to the next game.
That's why I love Marvin Jones.
Yeah. The next one's interesting as well. It's the LA Chargers and the Cincinnati Bengals. Over-under is 42. Chargers are favored by only 2.5 points.
So I love the running backs in this game for both teams. Eckler's one of my highest guys. I love Austin Eckler. I'm one of the biggest Austin Eckler truthers when it comes to fantasy, even though he proved it himself anyway. I think he could be a top 5 fantasy running back this season. And he doesn't even have to be a 1,000-yard runner to do it. So I think he's going to get still 90 catches, whether it's Tyrod or Herbert. I had a ton of Eckler, even though he's one of the guys running backs at $7K I paid up for. I love Joe Mixon. I think Mixon's also one of the best running backs in the NFL. Ton of him in my year-longs too. He's one of the guys I got a ton of. I love Joe Mixon. So I went really big on Eckler, really big on Mixon. I'm also really big. I didn't go in dailies, but I think Keenan Allen's still gonna have a monster year. Like I'm a huge Keenan Allen guy. He's low on touchdown, but I think Tyrod's going to push the ball some, and I think Allen's going to get enough catches. Like I have Allen in a ton of my year longs, and I looked at him for Dale. I went a different route, but I still think he could. I think he's going to have a good day tomorrow too. Bengals receivers, I wasn't really sure. Like I said, I mostly focused on Mixon this week. I think there's probably still some good plays you could play with some of the Bengals receivers. So I think Mixon get the ball, but they're still going to throw the ball at Burrow. I know still has Burrow winning the MVP this year, but I think he'll be a decent player still. Yeah, but like I said, I have a lot of big on the running backs, big on Eckler, and big on Mixon this week out of this game for me.
Yeah, I second a lot of that.
I think I might have cut out a little bit.
No, you're fine. Yeah, you did. You were lagging just a little bit, but I think you caught up. Yeah, so I kind of like this game a little bit. I do like Tyrod Taylor as a fantasy quarterback a little bit, and simply because he can run and get yards. He doesn't throw picks. He throws to his number one receivers quite a bit. Keenan Allen, I like Keenan Allen a lot. Austin Eckler, have you seen photos of this man since the offseason? He's probably put on 15 pounds of muscle. Austin Eckler.
Who was that? Oh yeah, did he? I think he's what Doug Martin could have been. I really think he's what Doug Martin could have been when Doug Martin showed flashes of brilliance for like 1 or 2 seasons. I think Eckler's gonna have a 5-year run of just top 5 to 7 fantasy value, and they signed him already to a 4-year extension. So it's not like he's like, I mean, there's a reason. I don't even think they were happy when Melvin Gordon came back last year. Eckler was still a top 10 fantasy guy with Melvin Gordon in the backfield. I know there's Josh Kelly. There's Josh Kelly truthers out there, and I think he'll play some. But Eckler's going to get so many touches, and they give him the ball. He's so dynamic. Sorry, I'm a big. I get really big on the Eckler train. So.
No, you're fine. With Eckler, though, I think I like Eckler a lot, but I think he has to have a number one in front of him in order to keep the production that he has. I don't think he's a workhorse number one running back. I think they have to have that guy. They don't have another running back right now that could take the workload. As you see, when he got the full workload, he didn't run straight between the tackles. They kept him in the passing game. So he's not a running back. So he's not gonna get all those snaps. It's probably gonna go to Justin Jackson.
I almost love more fantasy because I love having that just the passing game.
Yeah,
you get 30 yards in 30 yards in rushing touchdown, but 7 catches for 70 yards all day, every day.
Yeah, he's got high upside. But Justin Jackson's going to take some of those reps at running back. It's not like Eckler's going to get in there and get 25 carries and 10 catches. Like, it's just not going to happen, But I like Eckler a lot. Yeah. I like Mixon a lot. I like Tyler Boyd quite a bit. That passing game, I hate to say this, I don't mind Burrows. I don't. I'm not going to play a ton of him. I'll probably have 1, 2, maybe 3 lineups in total with him just to have some exposure. But this offense could be good in Cincinnati. There's a lot. They just need to get that offensive line figured out, and they'll be okay. And then the Chargers defense has taken 2 massive injuries. Derwin James is out, and then I may be making this up, but I believe Joey Bosa's out. Is Joey Bosa out?
Might be. I know he got hurt. I know he got dinged up. I don't know if he's.
And Melvin Ingram's holding out.
I mean, Quint might know because I know he's an Ohio State guy. I know Bosa got dinged up after he signed the contract. I'm not sure exactly if he's.
And Melvin Ingram's holding out right now for a contract. Yeah. So that's 3 studs on that defense that aren't there right now. So I like the Bengals offense. Let me see what kind of ownership Mixon's getting real quick to see.
And like you said, like once they have an offensive line, Bengals will have a big offense. I still think it might be a struggle. I think their overall record might not reflect it this year, the direction they're going, Ohio State. Saucus Quinn State, but
how is he a new Ohio State? What is this? What is this? A new Ohio State guy since February. What? Oh, he moved to Ohio, didn't he? That's what okay. Yeah. Joe Mixon's only getting 13%. So
and I think that people are just down the Bengals. You still don't realize the Bengals sucked last year. Joe Mixon, he's so good, and he can do. I think they're gonna get him more in the passing game. I don't think they use him in the passing game enough, and I think he's very dynamic in the passing game. It's the stupid, let's get Gio Bernard the ball. Why? Gio Bernard does not need the ball. Just let Joe Mixon play. You pay running backs, and Mixon got paid too. So, I mean, he got paid a couple weeks ago. He got the 4-year extension. So, give him the damn ball. Use him for 4 years, and he's done. You know how running backs are. There's no point of saving him.
Yeah, so we'll go to the next one here. We've got Arizona and San Francisco. The over-under is 48, and San Francisco's favored by 6.5 points.
Yeah. Well, my biggest concern for this game, like I sent you a message before we did this. Everyone knows what's going on. Hopefully everyone, if any of our fellow patrons and everyone stays safe out if you're living out in California and the West Coast. We know what's going on with the wildfires. So possibly the air might be so bad that they might have to push the game. Possibly even the Monday I saw, or even later Sunday, which I don't know what that might take them out of the Sunday slate. So where I originally had I might avoid some of the stuff going on in this game because I originally had some Garoppolo going, I originally was going to have some Kittle with my other tight ends, and I had a lot of Kendrick Bourne going, so I think he's actually going to, especially with Debo being out and Ayuk still a little banged up. I thought Kendrick Bourne was primed for a really big game, which he still might be. They still might be playing tomorrow. That's my biggest concern, like I said, Cameron, is the actual game being played. And that might be my own crazy brain overthinking it.
Yeah.
Like even I text you about with like Kyler Murray, like I was afraid to play him for a minute because of what's going on. I love Kyler. I'm also the biggest Kyler Murray guy. And I know you're a big Kyler Murray guy too.
Yeah.
I got Murray in like almost all my year longs too as my quarterback. So I was a little afraid about like just the game in general being played. I didn't play Murray as much in dailies, but I still think they could have I actually think this could be a higher scoring game too.
Yeah, I felt the same.
I rambled a lot there.
No, you're fine. I felt the same at first, but like I said, when I don't know the answer, I go to I think he froze. Let me see.
Yeah. Okay. Am I good? Yeah.
Yeah, you're good. You froze there for a second.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what my tower's right here, and I have all those damn things going. I was like 100%. I don't know why. Technology
looks to be good. Yeah, like the closer I get to this game, the more I'm not interested in it. Like you said, the weather, that's a situation to monitor with the fires and everything. I do kind of like Raheem. I like Raheem as the running back against Arizona. Kyle Shanahan, schematically, what he wants to do, he wants to take one or two running backs, flash a pass play or two, and just run it down your throat. That's what he wants to do, and that's probably what it's going to end up doing. There's not a receiver really to name other than George Kittle at tight end position. So if you play a wide receiver, most likely, or a tight end, you're going to probably end up playing him. I do like Ayuk, Brandon Ayuk, in a couple of weeks. I don't really like him right now. I think he's nicked up with some sort of a small injury. You got Kendrick Bourne, who he's not a speedy receiver. I believe I saw the 40 time was like a 4.6 or 4.7. So he's not super fast. He's there.
He's graceful. He's gracefully running a 4.6.
Yeah, he's there. He's cheap. I don't hate it, but I'm probably not going to have a lot from this game other than Kenyon Drake. And I love Kyler Murray as a football player. I just don't think this is the week for me personally. Mm-hmm. That defensive
I agree.
line,
I completely agree.
That defensive line that San Francisco has is nutty. And I have a lot of Kenyon Drake, and I'm really not 100% comfortable with it, but I like Kenyon Drake quite a bit. I feel like I need some exposure to this game in case it does. And if there's one person that's going to have a lot of impact as far as scoring, if Arizona does score a lot, I think it would be Kenyon Drake.
Yeah, I think even going back when we did like the year-long, we were talking about the fantasy previews like over a month ago now, I think you and me might be the biggest Arizona fans outside of Arizona, even besides Arizona.
Because I thought when we had that conversation, I hadn't looked yet to see how everybody else felt. And when I started looking at other media posts and other people that, talk about daily fantasy sports and stuff, they're not as high. And I'm like, am I missing something here? Like,
I'm fine taking, hopefully if that's going to get me some money or even year-long or dailies. Like, I think Kyler Murray, Drake, like I said, Kirk, obviously D-Hop. If a tight end ever came out there, I think Arizona's offense is filthy.
There's a group of people that are talking about how DeAndre Hopkins isn't going to be very good this first couple of weeks because he hasn't been on the field or with the team a lot. And I'm just thinking –
He played with Brandon Weeden. He played with TJ Yates. Come on.
Crazy. If I get Hopkins at like pretty low ownership, I might check that.
Yeah.
I'd have to look and see what the ownership.
I'd rather have Field Yates throwing him the ball from ESPN Fantasy than TJ Yates.
Yeah,
some people, like I told you, I overthink things, but come on, DeAndre Hopkins. Like I told you with some stuff, but like people that are like, oh, DeAndre Hopkins. I'm like, no. Do you watch him play? Like, come on, come on.
So we'll go ahead. We'll head into the last game. We'll hammer this one out and get out of here for you guys. It is, I think it's labeled as America's Game of the Week. However, it can't be America's Game of the Week because America's team is not playing it. The Dallas Cowboys, that's a whole nother thing. But it's Tampa Bay versus New Orleans. The over-under is 47.5, and New Orleans is favored by 3.5. Yeah, so how do you feel about what's going on here?
My biggest play I got going is Chris Godwin, especially with the Mike Evans news. I love Chris Godwin for many reasons, obviously Penn State, but also because I think he's going to fill that slot. I think he's going to be in that slot position a lot that Brady likes with Edelman because Godwin's played the slot a bunch. Even when Evans is healthy, I think Godwin's going to have a monster year. I got some Drew Brees going. Tampa Bay has the number one run defense returning in the NFL, but their secondary is terrible. I also fit in. Like we said with McCaffrey, I faded that price, but with Michael Thomas, I worked in a lot of Michael Thomas. That's where it paid off having Djax at 4.9 and Marvin Jones at 5.5. I could go with Michael Thomas and fit in even like the tight end positions, having like not playing crazy tight ends. I was able to fit in Michael Thomas in a bunch with my Eagle stack a lot. So Thomas, the Godwin, and a little Drew Brees.
I typically don't like to go over the 40 to 45% mark as far as ownership on one player. Mm-hmm. Michael Thomas, I'm at 67% right now. Michael Thomas, over 150 lineups. And I don't know if I feel good about that. But what I will say is, like I've said before, if you've got New Orleans at home, you've got a healthy Drew Brees, a healthy Alvin Kamara, and a healthy Michael Thomas. Play them at home. It's a lock, right? So one of them is going to go off. I've got a healthy amount of Kamara, and see, you said run defense as well. Tampa Bay's run defense. Mm-hmm. Kamara is not really affected with that because
he's proof. It's more Lat Murray, I would say. Like Lat Murray.
Yeah.
Kamara's fantasy proof, like is he in the passing game? It's like Eckler in a way.
What's y'all's thoughts on paying down for Tyrod? Yeah, that's what I was saying a minute ago. Is I was looking at Tyrod Taylor at his price and seeing if I could pay up elsewhere. Another place, Willie, I don't know if you're watching, is I'm not playing a ton of McCaffrey this week. I'm actually coming down a little bit on him, and I'm going to pay up in other places. So I'm probably not going to have a ton of them. Like I said, I'm having 150 lineups. I'll probably have 3 or 4 Tyrod Taylors. If I'm doing a single entry, I don't think he's going to be in my single entry because I have 2 single entry tournaments. He's not in. I think Carson Wentz and Matt Ryan are the 2 quarterbacks I have on my single entries. Alvin Kamara had, I believe, 10 targets last time he played Tampa Bay. He could get value just in passing work there. And if he gets in the end zone, that's just a bonus. Drew Brees, Michael Thomas. On the Tampa Bay side, man, I'm struggling with this Tampa Bay side because there's so many pieces. Like, there's so many. Like, you've got Gronk, you've got OJ Howard, you've got Chris Godwin, Ronald Jones, Leonard Fournette, and
I think Godwin's the best bet this week. I mean, even if obviously normally you'll have Mike Evans.
Yeah, and then Scotty Miller. I like Scotty Miller. I think he's a good receiver in that offense. So I don't know exactly where it is I'm going to go just yet. I'm probably going to have, like you said, I do think see you later, Quint. I do think that Chris Godwin's moving.
Thanks, Quint.
I do think he's going to move into the slot. That's a good spot for Godwin. He's a good route runner. He's got a good catch radius. And Tom Brady likes the big guys. He likes throwing to big receivers. So, yeah, he's paid down, and you got Scotty and cash. He's a cheat, man, and he can easily get out there and get you 2 catches and get you a touchdown and about 60, 70 yards. I mean, that's completely within his realm. But Tom Brady, man, I don't know if Tom Brady's going to come out. Is he going to be the dink and dunk to the corners, to the running backs, and maybe a tight end here and there? Or is he going to go over there and is he going to just unload? Because Bruce Arians, the beat writers, all the reporters, they've said that Tom Brady's arm looks super strong, the best it's ever looked. I don't know if that's just talk or if he's letting it loose in practice.
I think he might have one more year left in him. The more I thought about it, at least one, like the one like of the crazy 35 to 40 touchdown season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
we'll see. I mean, this will tell a lot. I mean, even without Evans, they have so many now. Even Fournette, a small thing about Fournette, even last year, Fournette had 70 catches. Like, you know what I mean? And that's the one that was like the knock on him. He had 70 catches out of the backfield. And they'll still play Ronald. You know what I mean? Whoever can pass protect will play out of the backfield.
Yeah. For tournaments, it's tough because you can't.
It's tough this week. I agree.
Game. You can't stack the game.
No.
You have to get the right piece in the right lineup. And that's where I'm struggling. So I think probably I'll end up going with just Chris Godwin and maybe a couple of Tom Brady. With Godwin. But
like I said, Godwin's really the only one I really went with because I agree with you, like how you're saying, trying to figure out, especially with Tampa.
So we'll go ahead. We've done all the games. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions here, Josh.
Are they true or false?
No. You got to think a little bit with these. You got to think, bro. So who is your lock of the week and your bust of the week?
My lock of the week, and I'm just going to go out of the, like I said it, and I'm just going off the cusp, like because it was lower, like I said. I'm going to DeSean Jackson as my lock of the week. I'm going, and that's not like obviously. I think like Chris Godwin's a lock, like if I want a bigger lock. I think DeSean Jackson. This is gonna be the week. If there's 1 week to play DeSean Jackson, like I've been saying this for like almost a month now. I've seen it coming. This first week when he's 100% healthy, the Eagles' offense with outside of Miles Sanders 100% healthy. DeSean Jackson I think is gonna have a monster game, and with his price value being under 5,000, DeSean Jackson's my like lock of the week for wide receiver. Trying to think for my bust of the week. I think my bust of the week is going to be. I hate to say it because I have him in a bunch of leagues. My bust of the week.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. There's a lot of dump downs. Yeah,
I think my bust of the week, and I hate you're gonna say because you say him a lot. I'm kind of low on Kenyon Drake this week, and I love Kenyon Drake. Like he's one of my players. Like I told you. I think he's the one that could falter in the Arizona game. I think Murray could still have some. So, like I said, I love for the whole year. Kenyon Drake's one of my locks for being a stud. But for week 1, I'll only throw some hate. I'll throw a little Arizona hate just because I love him so much. So Kenyon Drake will be my bust for week 1.
Yeah. So my lock, man, I want to say Preston Williams so bad. I think he's in a good spot, but my lock of the week is going to be Joe Mixon. I think he's going to get the workload, goal line carries, passing game work.
Love that. That's
probably going to be my lock. My bust of the week. See, the bust is hard, man. I'm going to go bust of the week.
Chris Herndon.
No. Man, I have so much as a couple of these guys that I think are kind of in decent spots, but might not. I'm gonna
just say McCaffrey. Just go balls to the wall and say Christian McCaffrey.
What is a bust for Lamar Jackson? How many points is a bust?
Anything under 25. I don't know. That's insane to say.
Is that a cheap bust? Is that a?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, because you could have that game, like we said, if he doesn't score touchdowns. You could have 130 yards passing.
Yeah, I don't think Lamar is going to. I think he doesn't meet value. So
that's what I was just gonna say too. If you go by price point, like that's how I would.
Yeah, price considered, I think Lamar Jackson doesn't hit value, and I think Joe Mixon crushes value. So those are my two.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's all the games, guys. We'll be back. We might be on twice a week. I'm not sure. I know for sure we'll be on Saturdays doing game reviews and things like that. And then we'll go over where we were right, where we were wrong, those kinds of things.
Probably a lot where we were wrong. So it's okay. I don't mind admitting it.
Yeah, we'll eat the crow on here live. You guys could hammer us on where we were wrong. But go ahead in the comments. Let us know who you guys have locked in, who you guys think is busting, where you think we're right, where you think we're wrong. I'll look at it. I'll review it. Also, go join the Russell Hantz show, Russell Hantz patron group for $5 a month. You can go join that. We also have a page, the Russell Hantz Show Sports Betting, daily fantasy and season long that you can go join. just search it in Facebook and click join. I believe it is public now. So guys, just comment below if you have any questions. We respond. We check the comments. And you guys take care and good luck tomorrow.
All right. Have fun.